Hi everyone, it's Ron here at Simmod Lens. Today I'm going to walk you through the EF conversion process for the Canon FD 50mm f1.4 SSC. We're going to use the Edmika Simmod DCG conversion kit for this conversion, which means that we will be replacing this native aperture ring with a dampened controlled aperture ring with a gear. First we'll need to remove the 3 screws that are underneath the breech lock. There's one that's already exposed right here, so I'll go ahead and remove that with a GIS screwdriver, held very firmly down and downward pressure. Now this breech lock will lock, however there is a locking tab here. It's hard to see, but if you press down on it, it will unlock the breech lock ring, exposing the 2 other screws remaining, which we'll go ahead and remove. Once the 3 screws are removed, the breech lock mount just comes right off like so. Once that is removed, we'll take note of this tab here, and we want to pull that up and just remove that tab. We'll also note this part here, which is held down by 2 screws. So we need to remove those 2 screws in order to remove that tab, and once that tab is removed, the native aperture ring will come loose. Like so. Once that tab is removed and we can turn the aperture ring, we can lift up. Just note that the aperture ring is still clicking, so that means there are 2 ball bearings that are underneath it. So when you lift up, just be careful not to lose those ball bearings. You don't need it, but in case you ever want to go back to clicking it, you'll have it. So the aperture ring just simply comes off like so. There's a 1 ball bearing that I mentioned is still there, so we'll remove that. The second ball bearing is right here, which came out once I lifted the aperture ring. It's also important to note that underneath where the ball bearings were, there are 2 springs. There's a spring underneath each one, so we want to get our tweezer in there and remove those ball bearings, the spring, sorry. Once that is removed, we'll also note the 2 screws that are holding in this tab here that we want to remove. Once that is removed and that tab comes off, we're going to go ahead and clean some of the oil and debris that's underneath the old aperture ring. So we'll just do a quick clean. Once that is removed, let's take a look at the package that came. Here is the dampened controlled gear, the DCG part that comes with the kit. It's labeled Edmika FD 50mm 1.4 in the etching here. It also comes with the brass EF mount. And replacement screws. We'll put the lens at infinity, and we'll notice these two notches here between these two goalposts. When you move that goalpost back and forth, it should open and close the aperture. In this case, in this particular case, it does not, and I'll show you why. In some instances, what we call a shark fin, there is this tab. It's very hard to see, but it's right there. That tab prevents this shark fin from going any further. This tab here opens and closes. So what we want to do is lift that tab, lift it open, and slide the shark fin over, and it will close up again on its own. So now that we've lifted that tab and released the shark fin, we can go ahead and move that goalpost open and closing, and you'll see that the aperture now open and closes. What we want to do is take the DCG and make note of this little tab here and the goalpost on the lens. What we want to do is put this tab in between the two goalposts on that lens. So we'll align the tab to slide between the two goalposts, and that should provide you full aperture control of the aperture. It sits in perfectly, there's no gap, it sits flush, and when you turn it, it opens and closes, so you have proof that it works. Once that's done, you basically make note of where the top center of the lens is and the logo on the brass mount, and align it and realign the holes. Using the supplied screws, there should be 4 in the bag, but you only need 3. We'll replace the screws with the new screws. Once the screws are replaced, your conversion is complete. Infinity focus calibration is required for all FD SSC lenses, so you will need to calibrate focus on this lens. There you have it, a fully converted to EF 50mm f1.4 SSC lens.